incredibly long. But I'm going to tell you about just two more because they're my favorite ladies in English history. You've probably heard their names before. Their names are Bloody Mary and Elizabeth I. Sorry to taunt you with the drink again. But nonetheless, they're buried inside, and they're monarchs in their own right. They're the first two female queens of England. And they're sisters as well. Now, they were the daughters of the infamous Henry VIII. Now, I'm still going to tell you mostly about him later, but what you need to know for now is that he had 6 wives, and with his first 3 wives, he had 3 legitimate children. First wife, Catherine, gives him Mary, not a boy. He changed the entire church so that he can divorce Catherine and marry Anne Boleyn and have a boy. Problem is, after he divorces Catherine, says Mary's no longer his heir to the throne, he marries Anne Boleyn, and they have Elizabeth. Not a boy. He wants a boy. So far, there had been no female queens in history. He thought he needed to secure his legacy with a boy. He's wrong about that, but that's what he thinks. Either way, he gets rid of Anne Boleyn the hard way. We'll talk about that later on. She's out of the picture. Elizabeth, no longer heir to the throne. Third wife, Jane Seymour. Finally gives us the boy. Gives us, of course, Edward VI. And that's where we'll pick up the story now. There's 3 more wives, 9 more years. But we're going to talk about that later on. It's time for Edward. The problem for Edward is that he's 9 when he takes the throne, and he can't take the throne until he's 12, which I still think is maybe too young, but nonetheless, 3 years where he has a council of elders that take care of the country for him for those 3 years. Then when he does take the throne, he's very easily manipulated by all these elders that still feel like they should be in control. And maybe they should have been, but either way, he's easily manipulated. And he doesn't live very long after this. He lives only until he's 15. And the problem for him is that his parents were very closely related, Jane Seymour and Henry VIII. And so he had a lot of health issues that came with that. Incest will do that. Nonetheless, at this point, he knows he's going to die. He's got to choose an heir to the throne. And he obviously should choose his eldest sister, Mary, but she's still a Catholic, like her mother. We are now in a Protestant country since his father changed the church to divorce Catherine of Aragon. And so he doesn't want a Catholic following in his Protestant footsteps. So he doesn't choose his half-sister, Mary. But why didn't he choose Elizabeth? She was a Protestant. Well, because those advisors told him, no, you should choose one of our daughter-in-law. Because, of course, gives them more power. Her name is Lady Jane Grey, and she was his cousin, but almost everybody in court was his cousin. But I'm not making a joke, that's truly how it was. So him choosing her was the wrong choice. And she becomes known as the 9-day queen. After he dies and she becomes queen, you might be able to guess why she's called the 9-day queen. Queen for 9 days. At which point, Elizabeth, who has been snubbed, or sorry, Mary, who's been snubbed by her father and then by her brother, decides, you know what, they're not going to give me my throne, I'm going to take it. Comes down to London with an army behind her, claims her birthright, and a few months later, Lady Jane Grey's head with it. But this is not why we call her Bloody Mary. We call her that because she had a pure wrath within her, and she did not want anyone to get away with what they did to her mother or how they changed the church from Catholic to Protestant. So she accuses over 60 people of heresy and begins to have them burned alive. So that might sound pretty bad. It's actually worse than it sounds, though, because after 3 executions, she decides it's not bad enough. The smoke is choking the victim.